Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 3 of the oNiD British GT3, the oNiD British GT3 Cup. We're here at the Nurburgring. My name is Cammy Sturch, and I'm joined again by Dan Hyde.
Hello.
And we've got from his sim rig, Ben Brown.
Good evening.
Now, I stumbled over my words there because I nearly called it the Challenger Cup. That would have been a bit of a whoops. But no, welcome to the oNiD British GT3 Championship. At the moment, after 2 rounds completed, Jonathan Seville is leading the championship on 43 points, actually tied with Christopher Larson. It all just comes down to counting back on best results. Miles Dixon is third with 24 points, and Sigurd Revzik is, well, fourth, but technically listed as third with 19 points in the BMW M4 GT3. In silver class, Henry Handy leads the way in his Honda NSX on 40 points. Alexander Otegren is in second with 33 points, and Patsy Jelinek in third with 30 points. And in the AM class, Matt Wilmot leads the way on 33 points, John Cheel second with 30 points, and Dave Zalecki is third with 25 points. The circuit tonight is the Nurburgring in Germany. Seats 150,000 people, located in the town of Nurburg in the Rhineland-Palatinate. You can tell I was reading that off Wikipedia, can't you? So if we take you through the Nurburgring circuit, they'll head downhill into turn 1 through the Mercedes arena, brings them out to turns 5 and 6, which is the Ford curve, down towards the hairpin, through the Michael Schumacher S, turns 8 and 9, up towards the Vorsteiner curve, heading back uphill towards turn 12, and then the NGK chicane right at the end before the final 170-degree right-hander, turn 15, to complete the lap. Of course, we're not doing the whole Nordschleife. This is a sub 2-minute affair, the Formula 1 the Grand Prix circuit, as opposed to the endurance circuit. And the drivers are out in qualifying at the moment. We should be able to join them shortly. Of course, if you want to get involved, the Discord link does appear on screen periodically, and it is, I think, down in the description as well. Yes, here we go. Jonathan Seville at the moment leading the way in qualifying, 153.6. Dan Watts just behind, a couple of tenths off the pace with Chris Larson, and then Alex Shahabi 3 tenths off, and then there's a big half-a-second gap down to Marcus Hagel, Jordan Watson, and Matt High. Ben, how is it out on track at the moment? How are you doing?
Yeah, it's okay. It's a little bit. It feels a little bit slippy. So I think as it rubbers in, we'll see those times coming down a bit. But it is quite hot, so I think people are just kind of getting used to it at the minute. But it does feel a little bit slippy. But you can see it starting to rubber in nicely.
A little bit slippy, you say?
A little bit slippy, yes.
So is this a case of, so how would a driver work around that for the race to ensure their tyres aren't dead by the halfway point?
Well, you could drive slower, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure that one's going to go well with a few of the people in there. There are certain things you can do with your cameras and your tow and things, and it'll be interesting to see. Oh, it'll also depend on the cars, because a few of these cars won't really notice how slippy it is because of the amount of downforce that they've got. It might be that my total lack of downforce on the car is not helping with my sliding everywhere, so we shall see.
Because it is a 90-minute race tonight, isn't it? You've got a mandatory pit stop with mandatory refueling, but you're not no mandatory tyre change. Do you think drivers will be deciding to take tyres?
If it's this warm in the race, which I think it probably will be, I think you will see a lot of people changing tyres, because it is going to put some stress on the tyres, being what 34 degrees, 33 degrees track temperature right now. I know quite a few will try and do it with just a fuel stop. So it'll be interesting to see what some people will just treat it like 2 sprint races kind of thing, 2 45-minute sprint races, and just thrash the tyres. And then there'll be other people who's just going to try and not coast around, but try and save that time, save the fuel, so that their pit stop's nice and short.
Do you find that if pushed hard, the tyres end up falling off a cliff? Is there a sort of a rapid degradation point where you can really start losing bags of time, or is it more gentle and gradual than that?
There is quite a big kind of cliff, as it were, with these. We're not talking like F1 cliffs where you're suddenly 3 seconds a lap faster, slower. But there's definitely peaks and troughs with the tyres.
Should we stop distracting you now?
Yeah, sorry, I was just letting people through while thinking about what to talk about.
Yeah, we'll leave you to it.
That's fine.
No, we don't want to give you any excuses. We know you'll take that excuse if you can.
I've got enough excuses. I don't need any more. It's fine.
Get some tips from Dan.
I'm sure that'd help.
I get my tech support from Dan. I don't get my racing support from Dan.
Does that mean to say you've been shopping with Cadan Computers?
I have been shopping with Cadan Computers.
What have you bought from Cadan Computers?
Well, I've got some upgrades on my PC, and then I've gone out and bought a screen, and now I can actually run ACC and widescreen at like a decent graphics.
Did they
setting.
arrive quickly?
He arrived in person. I was very lucky.
Wow, what service? Where can you get
service.
that? How do you get hold of Cadan Computers?
Dan, tell us how you get hold of Cadan Computers.
It's
because I just ring him up and go, "Oi, Dan." No, but
you can get hold of us through Twitter or Facebook, and it's /Cadan Computers.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Could you repeat that?
You didn't hear that?
No, I didn't.
Again. So it's
better.
It's Facebook and Twitter /Cadan Computers.
Fantastic. I will certainly make a note of that. So Ben, we'll leave Ben to it. It looks like he's on a much tidier lap with his Cadan upgrades in hand. Looks like he's getting the tow as well from somebody just up ahead. Another oNiD Racing teammate, so they won't be wanting to slow him down at all. Ben's in 21st at the moment. He's He's slightly mingling with some of the faster AM drivers. Lathoff, Cheel, and Wilmot very much. They're doing very well to be up that high. Say the majority of them are sort of 25th and lower. Dave Zalecki having a bit of a tough time, especially though Hilke van der Veen. He was in the chat saying not in a good mindset, clearly. Still going to drive and see what happens. I haven't seen Hilke in a good mindset for a while. Hilke, is every race seems to be a chore at the moment, or are we just not visiting the circuits that you like? Good evening, Bremsy. 15 of you viewing this evening. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully there'll be a few more of you soon. Got just under 23 minutes left here in Germany at the Nurburgring. We're following Miles Dixon, the Pulse SimSport racer, who is just peeling off the track. He is in 7th place, and obviously whatever setup changes he's made were not working out for him. So he has returned to the garage. Evening all, says VZ6, get it right, Cammy. And the old Earl of Ipswich says evening to you too, Earl. Now Jonathan Earl, as you know, he's the latest of the late breakers. He will absolutely fling it into turn 1 and go up the inside of everybody. But we're going to join Will Dendy now, Le Mans virtual superstar for Brabham Esports. He helped the team to a fantastic 8th place in class a couple weeks ago. That was on R Factor 2. This is, of course, ACC. He can hear us because he's weaving. He's told us before that he does listen to the stream. The British Racing Green and Gold McLaren is currently in 14th and sitting at the tail end of proceedings for the Pro Class at the moment, all with the exception of Mav Gardner in 24th. But Lucky 7, Will's going to start a new flying lap, so we'll stay with him for this lap and we'll talk you round the lap here at Nurburgring. The track walk thing was a bit too fast for me to keep up with. There's many names for turn 1, the Castro S, the Yokohama S, I think the other one was Harold Maker or something, but it is a downhill 120 degree right hand and then goes back uphill into turns 2, 3 and 4, which is the Mercedes Arena. This is generally reserved for the GT cars, I think. Formula 1 cars used to just go straight from turn 1, do a little chicane, and then they'd head down to turn 5, which is exactly where Will is heading now. It goes downhill slightly, and you get a nice little tuck into the left as the track cambers away. He's coming up to some slower traffic. He's going to be hoping they move out the way. Is that Henry Handy? Not absolutely sure if that was a Remnant Racing AMG. He's going to be catching them fast, though. He's coming down to turn 7, the hairpin here at the Nurburgring, where you get all the flags in the grandstand. He might start getting a tow from them, but he won't want the aero wash, the lack of downforce, as he comes through the Michael Schumacher S's, turns 8 and 9. You can carry a lot of speed here in a well set up car. Can buy you several tenths of a second. He is closing in on that AMG as he comes down to turn 10, using all the AstroTurf he can, taking as much curb as he can, hitting the apex through the Vorsteiner curve, turn 11. Got to get a good exit, or it will sacrifice a lot of speed all the way down through turns 12 up to the NGK chicane, through Ad Van Bogen. That's turn 12, the little right-hander kink. You have to lift off a little bit, hard on the brakes now. You don't go for the first chicane, that's the Formula 1 one, I think. It's a slightly later one and less... Oh, and Will slowed right down. He's felt that... hello, Will. He's felt that he's catching that car far too quickly, so he'd rather sacrifice this lap than the next. So he's going to go for it again, and he must be kicking himself now, because that car's just pulled over. So he could have finished that lap and started another one. So always the way with racing. If you... cars in front can't exactly clearly communicate what they plan to do, but hopefully we'll see Will move up the field, because he is 15th at the moment. He was 9th about 10 minutes ago, but yeah, several people have got evidently faster laps in. But we're going to join Jonathan Seville now, again on provisional pole. He is a bit of the Michael Schumacher, the Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton of oNiD Racing. Almost start to criticize him of making it boring, because he's just absolutely dominant. But I know, and he's really attacking those curbs, absolutely flinging it round. A few drivers could be taking notes, because no, he's pulling over. He wasn't happy with that. Or did he invalidate the lap at the end there?
He was just slow.
He was just slow. Just too slow. Anyway, we're going to join second place is Dan Watts in the BMW. Seems the reign of the Porsches might be coming to an end. We've seen it in several oNiD series, as well as other series Dan and I have had the pleasure of commentating on, and Porsches have really been the dominant force in Assetto Corsa Competizioni as of recently. The Aston Martins haven't been too shabby either, but BMWs and Hondas seem to be making a bit of a comeback, and seeing Marcus Hagel and especially Jordan Watson doing very well in the Audi and Ferrari. That is very good to see. It's always nice to see a good mix of cars rather than everybody diving to pick the same car just because it's got a bit of a bop update. So, how's Dan Watts' lap looking at the moment, Dan, in terms of sectors and everything like that?
He's matching his previous best, and on his last lap is where he went 0.08 slower than Seville.
Now that is an infinitesimally small amount of time. They are, if you put these cars in a visualization to demonstrate how fast both of them are at the same time, that's a matter of less than a foot between them. When Seville crosses the line, Dan Watts is less than a foot behind, I'd say. So unbelievably quick from Dan Watts, because we know how talented Jonathan Seville is, and I'm sure he doesn't get tired of hearing it. Chris Larson, he's sitting in third at the moment, and he is another talent that could well take that provisional pole spot. And Dan Watts just running it wide, just giving him some space from the traffic ahead to start a new flying lap. And we're going to jump back with Daniel Hearn, the Porsche number 131, just coming down to the hairpin. He's in 9th at the moment. And we're more used to seeing like the top 10, the top 15, all separated by less than a second. But such is the difference on display tonight that only the top 6 are separated by a second. It's Nurburgring is separating the gamers from the racers, it seems. Dan's 1.2 seconds off Jonathan Seville's time. He's just ahead of Javier Marquez and just behind Matt High. So he's just coming now to the end of his lap, up to the NGK chicane. Dan, how's he looking?
So he's about 0.3 up on his personal best.
Now, Daniel has been, he finished 10th last week at Alton Park, and he's worked his way up to 6th on the grid. That's the back of the 3rd row, so not shabby at all there. Will Dendy's back in the pits. He's still not found some time, but I don't think he gets the time to practice like other people do, because of course he's jet setting around the world on I suppose His Majesty's government's pleasure now, because now, I mean, he has been for a long time. He is a British government diplomat, very fancy, and I meant to ask him how one finds this, how does one get into such a job? Because I was saying to Dan, you never hear kids saying, when I grow up, I want to be a diplomat. It's just one of those obscure jobs that you don't often see in like the job seekers listings, do you, Dan?
No, I've always wondered how one would get oneself into a position like that.
Yes, one does wonder. And pinkies out when you're drinking cups of tea and coffee, no doubt. But here is Miles Dixon. He is in 7th at the moment in the Day Glow Fuchsia and Luminous Yellow Porsche 991. I think I'm correct in saying, like, despite model numbers like 991 and 996 and such, they're all still considered 911s, aren't they, Dan?
Yes, so yeah, the 99 number is just the sub-variant.
Yeah, I didn't want to sort of be, commit a faux pas there and have Porsche fans sort of shrieking at me. Ah, here is Henry Handy. Of course, yeah, he doesn't drive the AMG anymore. He is a Honda NSX driver, still with the luminous yellow, but it's sort of inspired by the Mazda Le Mans livery from their 787 rotary engine car. He's 11th at the moment, and I'm just gonna refresh my memory. He finished 13th at Alton Park, and he's 7th at the moment. So every driver looking to make improvements, of course, from their previous outing. Nurburgring, of course, quite a bit larger circuit than Alton Park, isn't it, Dan?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Whereas Nurburgring can hold, it's at about 130,000 people. I mean, I don't think Alton Park could even hold half that, could it, in terms of spectators?
No, I think it's around 50,000 usually at Alton.
Yeah,
most.
I mean, I think Alton Park is like a Grade 2 listed circuit, so they don't. I think like the biggest events they get are like the British Superbikes and the British Touring Cars. I'd say they're the biggest events that go to Alton Park, and GT Cup.
British GT, do they go there?
British GT, yeah, I think they do. Yeah, they must do. It's the British GT. If you don't, yeah.
I think they do, because I'm going there for GB3 and GB4 this year, I'm sure I am.
Yeah, they support British GT, don't they? So, I mean, I should know. We were there with British GT and handing out. I was trying to get noticed by the GB4 the GB4 teams, and handing out my art book. So Jordan Watson, currently in 9th place. Of course, he had a rotten time at Alton Park. He qualified well, but didn't end up finishing the race. He sort of got involved in the wars. Just try to check what his qualifying position was at Alton Park. So at Alton Park, he qualified 10th. Well, he's already, at the moment, he's one up on that. He's in 9th. I think this circuit, being a bit wider, a bit larger, it will suit his more aggressive driving style much more, whereas Alton Park, it's so easy to trip over everybody around you, and when it comes to lapping, slower cars as well. Here's Sebastian Lathoff in his, I think that's, Miami Dolphins livery. Whether that's an official deal, we don't know yet. He's also seems to be sponsored by BWT, who have, if it's familiar, is that BWT? It looks like it. Yeah, I think that is.
Yeah,
if that's familiar.
BWT.
Yeah, if that's familiar, that's the think it's bottled water, isn't it? They sponsor the Alpine team now. They used to sponsor Force India.
Yeah, and they sponsor some horse drivers. I just remember it being the water people. I just think big water team.
Big water team, yeah. And remember, manufacturers of bottled water, they don't make water, they just make plastic bottles. They just filter some water. They don't. It's kind of hard to say that bottled water brands have a product, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same about petrol. They don't make petrol.
Petrol.
They just filter oil.
Sorry, no filter as I just went into Michelin wet mode. Yeah.
Cheese.
Cheeseoid, yeah. Absolutely no filter from brain to mouth there. But that's what you will tune in for. Cammy talking absolute crap. 25 of you watching. Thank you very much for tuning in. Here's Vili Van Oosenen. He's in 15th at the moment in his I almost thought that was like Monster Energy with those lime green lines going down the side. Really, that should be Monster Energy. Put Monster Energy on the side of your car. Make it 10 block inspired livery. Ando Senpai says, sheesh, a 53. Yeah, I'm assuming that must be Jonathan Seville, who's setting some blistering times in this blistering heat. 31 degrees. Dan, are you a fan? I mean, in real life, are you a fan of really hot weather?
No, I'm the typical British person. I like mild weather.
Yeah, I like, 20 Celsius is pleasant. Maybe 25 tops. It's just the humidity that gets me. Oh, and Hilka, I'm sorry to hear that. So, if anyone doesn't know, Hilka said it's not racing that's messed up my mindset, but some family stuff. Well, that's put me in an awkward position. I'm very sorry to hear that, Hilka Vindaveen, and I hope things get better for you soon in that respect. I thought it was just you weren't having a good time with the circuits and the racing, but it's all good to just have you here. I do appreciate having you here, and we still want you to have fun. As we saw Jonathan Seville going off the track there, and here's Alex Shahabi, and he's getting a face full of dirt from the car that's not on a fast lap, just ahead of him. He's 5th at the moment for Connexus Motorsports, heading down towards the hairpin. Just under 8.5 minutes left. Ben, how are you getting on?
Yeah, pretty well, actually. I had a good lap there, so I'm definitely further up than I thought I was going to be today.
So, 19th place. What's that? 9th row of the grid.
Yeah, it's this will be the best qualifying of the season, which about sums up how this season's been going so far. I think I was 35th and then 30th, something like that. So
you made an improvement. Sorry, 10th row. That is 10th row of the grid. My apologies.
Yeah, it's much better. Just
so you're
still struggling with the beast. Yeah, still struggling with it.
So what are your tactics for avoiding first lap dramas in the mid pack?
Do what I did last week and use the brake pedal a lot to just play it nice and safe at the start, and then see what happens later on. Because that's my strength, is staying consistent, putting consistent lap times in. So I just need to make sure I stay away from everyone at the start, really.
So if let's say you had qualified on the back row, how tempting would it be to start from the pit lane and just be completely out of the mix for that first corner calamity?
But I actually had to do it in a race on Thursday, because my PC was in bits at the time, getting sorted, and
oh no!
So I started at the back.
And you've got that sorted now?
Yeah, because Dan's an absolute legend. So I started at the back at Bathurst, so I just kind of stayed well clear of everyone, let them all have their little moments, and then started working my way through. So it's easier when you're on the back row. I think you could start from the pit lane, but then you are way at the back. If you start at the back, you can just kind of release the throttle a bit. You don't need to be attacking people, and just kind of survey what's going on in front of you.
Ben, that is a lovely livery. Where can I get one?
You can message me on Discord or visit the website.
Really? What's the website?
It's ben22racing.com. Thanks, Cammy.
Sorry, I missed that. What was it again?
It's ben22racing.com.
Fantastic. Go there now.
Yes.
And what do prices start from?
What did we were talking about this?
I thought you said they started
30. 30 of your English pounds.
You've come over all British because I know you charge generally more than that.
For the simple
You've
ones,
come
it's
over
30.
all British. They start from £30 then. We'll say they start from £30. Yeah, you've come over all British and you're very awkward around money, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's like me as well.
Awkward around self-promotion.
We gonna join Jonathan Seville now, as he's not giving up. He is still determined to go faster. He's set at 153.3 at the moment. Ben, he's not far off that. He's only 2 seconds off that. It is quite a spread field tonight. Only the top 6 are within a second, and only the top 19 are within 2 seconds. Daniel Lindblom exactly 2 seconds behind, down to the thousandth of a second there. Jonathan Seville, he's coming up to Weinsteiner curve, and he's just got a bit of traffic in front of him. He's hoping that they're going to release him. And I've just spotted the back wing of it, and the back wing of his car says, "You got pulsed," which probably isn't a joke to a lot of drivers who have been at the receiving end of a pulsing, and it seems to have replaced getting hided now. Dan's going to be relieved, but also a little sad to hear that.
No, I'm glad. Very glad.
Times have moved on, being hided, that's not cool anymore. You got to get pulsed. And getting pulsed means you start a race with about 10 people behind you, all of the same team, where they can just use their superior numbers to smother you and take you out and take the victory. But Jonathan Seville has to do no such thing. He's absolutely on fire here at the Nurburgring. Don't know why I said it like that. 4 minutes to go. He's sliding it round the chicane. He's got somebody following him, hoping to emulate his style. That could be was that Jonathan Earl? No, it wasn't Jonathan Earl, because it looks like an oNiD car behind him rather than a Fry guys. Now, where is Jonathan Earl? He seems to... I'm trying to find him. He is 10th at the moment, but he could probably fire his way up to 6th at turn 1. But Nurburgring, I mean, Dan, what are your experiences of turn 1 at the Nurburgring?
Well, it's been a while, but from what I can remember, it can be a little bit hairy.
It can be. I tried to go slowly and just very tightly around the inside, but even then that can go wrong, because you only need one person to be on a slightly wider line, and then they think, I'm going to hit the apex, and then they just suddenly turn across you, not taking into account that people could be going 3 wide at that corner at the first lap.
Yeah, and
so
you can
if
get
drivers
people,
are listening, sorry.
You can get people take the inside line, but they're still taking the speed you would for the outside line. So you've slowed down early to make the apex, and they just drive straight into the back of you.
Oh, yeah. As Jonathan Earl makes his own lines at the chicane, he's completely invalidated that lap. But if any drivers are listening, don't take the racing line at turn 1, lap 1, because you're all going to be going 3 or possibly even 4 wide. Just remember to use your radar, make sure that you're aware of the cars to the left of you, cars to the right, the inside, the outside, and just, it's like the Halo Reach final mission. Survive. As Marcus Hagel, he is in 7th at the moment, and he's just coming up behind a racing stronger Aston Martin. So is that Adam Gardner or is that Mav Thorpe? I'm not quite sure at the moment, but they are on a hot lap as well, so they don't have to move over for Hagel. Hagel's either going to have his speed impeded. Oh no, he's been gifted. He's been gifted that, so they've made way for him. And they've invalidated that lap in the process. There's only a minute and a half of qualifying here to go. The track is optimum. The track's cooled down a little bit. It's 30 degrees now. It was, I think it was like 34 at the beginning of the session. So Ben will be happy to know it's cooling down. But Ben is in the pits, so he's not going to be able to get another lap in. Mav Gardner is in the green Aston Martin. He's just starting his final lap. Everybody coming across the line now. Oh, and he's just quickly abandoned
Yeah,
that.
he's just put it in 18th.
Fantastic work from Mav Gardner, and a very funky livery going on there as several cars morph into each other. Alex Parkin for Mad Panda Motorsport. I almost said Fry Guys there, but it's another black and white one. So we've got pandas, and then Fry Guys is a bit more of a zebra themed car.
Seville is doing purple sectors at the moment.
I can't believe this. He might even get round for one more lap after this as well. I think he's going to be one of the last. He will be the last car to. Oh no, and he's got it wrong. Oh, just as the camera's turned on him, absolutely cursed him. Very sorry about that. Dan, how quick was he going? You said purples.
He was about 2/10 up on that lap.
That is absolutely crazy. It shows how hard he's pushing, that he's losing control of such a, a good handling car. oNiD Dave says top side of AMs are all close. I can only see John Chill at the moment. Here we go. Yes, it is very close, isn't it? Only a couple tenths between Chill and Cameron. Zelecki's another tenth back, but John Chill will want to put at least a couple silvers between himself and Sebastian Lathoff just to take the pressure off when it comes to defending that AM class lead. He's going to have to do it for 90 minutes. And of course, 90 minutes, anything can happen. Somebody else can ruin your race. You can be... Oh no, and he's pulling off. That's John Chill's qualifying done. We've obviously cursed him as well, Daniel. So, Daniel, I usually just call you Dan. Getting all formal now. It must be that diplomat in me coming out. I don't know what that means. Anyway, here's Jonathan Earl. He's in 11th. He's been pushed out of the top 10. This is going to be his last gasp chance. He's just coming out onto the back straight. It'll be the right kink, then the NGK chicane. He needs to get this final chicane right. He needs to take all the speed he can in, ride the curbs, avoid the sausage bit of the curbs. He succeeded. He was absolutely flying. Now he's just going to get it round this final right-hander, and that'll be his lap done. Is he going to be able to get back into the top 10?
He's 2/10 up at the moment.
Dan says he's 2 temps up, and he goes well inside the top 10. He goes into 8th position. Fantastic final gasp effort there. And Colin Cameron ends the session in 25th place out of 36 drivers. Alex Parkin at the moment making up, and that is qualifying done. Whoever was left out on track must have had an invalidated lap time, so that brings the session to a close, and the Twitch stream has just gone very pixely. There we go, it's cleared up a bit. So we've got just under 3 minutes to the race start. It is a 90-minute race here at the Nurburgring in Germany. It's very, very warm. Rather than 2 sprint races, it is one long 90-minuter. There is a mandatory pit stop. They do have to take fuel. They don't have to take tyres, but given the length of the race, and especially with the heat, will some drivers opt for some fresh rubber at the halfway point just to avoid losing that pace in the final 10 minutes? You can imagine how gut-wrenching that would be to lose a few seconds a lap as your tyres fall apart. Drivers would just be going through their setups now. Some drivers like to use their qualifying setup and just put some more fuel in it. Some drivers like to go onto a special racing setup, and they'll be either making those setups themselves or picking them up from subscription-based services, one of which is usually advertised all around Assetto Corsa Competizione. You see the drivers sort of the cars lift up onto their hydraulic legs. In the last moment, Dan, what do you tend to do in these last couple minutes before a race?
Make sure the setup's loaded, make sure pit stop strategy options are loaded, and then wait as long as I can before I click drive. Well, wait as long as I can even before I exit the setup menu, because as soon as you exit the setup menu and it drops you down off the jacks, you lose your tyre blankets. You start losing temperature in your tyres as soon as you exit that pits, the strategy and the setup menu.
Ah, wise words there from Dan. So any drivers taking notice of that, leave it as late as you can to drop off the hydraulic legs. And Ben, what are you doing in these final moments?
Panicking that I've probably got tyre pressures wrong, and I usually just sit here twiddling around with things until the last minute.
Well, I don't want to know what thing you're twiddling around with.
Set up things. Yeah.
Awkward silence.
Awkward silence. But
Well,
yes.
you've got about 30 seconds left, so we wish you good luck, and may all your sectors be purple.
Thank you.
And survive turn 1, please. oNiD Dave says, YOLO, Ben. Just
Send?
Leroy Jenkin it into turn 1.
I was going to say, where's Dave?
And the Codex 09 says, sounds familiar. I think he's replying to somebody else. He's replying to the Earl of Ipswich. So you've got 10 seconds. The drivers have got to click drive now. It's now or never, or they will be starting from the pit lane. 2, 1. And the formation lap has officially begun here at the Nurburgring. 30 of you watching at the moment. Thank you for joining us. My name is Cammy Sturch. I'm in the commentary booth with Dan Hyde, and we've got occasional input from Ben Brown whenever he's not busy. If he's in the gravel, I'm sure he'll end up talking to us.
Yeah, you'll probably hear me whining.
As you can tell, we are at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. The time at the top does indicate that we're here for 90 minutes, so my voice is going to be tired by the end of it. As the cars make their way onto the warm-up lap, some of them will do some weaving, some of them will be doing some brake dragging, anything to get some get some temperatures into the tyres. Like last week, Dan took a while to tell me that I'd said 2012. I'm sure I said a lot of things wrong, just in the heat of the moment. You just have to keep talking because silence, like on radio, you can't be silent for too long. That's just dead air, I think they call it. Stevie B GT says, and don't moan when you do. 4 drive-throughs at the start. I suppose that's Codex's prediction. You know what? I think there might be a few. I think there will be more than one drive-through at the beginning. What do you think, Dan?
It's highly possible with such a big grid.
Yeah, we've got a lot of drivers here tonight. It's only, what was it, about 37 of them? Maybe under 40. It is a large grid, and the Nurburgring pit road couldn't take them all. Pit road? What am I saying? Pit lane couldn't take them all, so you had several cars stacked on top of each other, like at Alton Park. Oh, I know if I ever said pit road. I only ever say that when I'm taking the mick out of Americans.
Been watching NASCAR
Oh, are they in the Coliseum recently?
today, I think.
Oh, was
Or
that
this
today?
evening.
I did see
I think it's
pictures
this
of them.
evening, yeah.
I did see pictures. I'm seeing, it looks like camera flashes, but they're just coming out the grass and trees. it's like there's squirrels in the crowd just taking pictures with the flash during the day. And they're all flickering and blinking because those flashes weren't coming from humans in the crowd. Oh, that's something only Cammy had noticed. So, as Jonathan Seville leads the cars round, you see Dan Watts weaving. Seville, if you're listening, give us a flash.
Sounds a bit rude.
Thank you, Dan. I know Will Dendy's like, oh, I'm flashing, but they can't see.
You're welcome.
The drivers are being told now to pair up 2 by 2, and that means the leaders have to back off a bit. Bunch the pack up, and they'll all have to get into their green box as is displayed on their head-up display. If they're out of that box, they will be given a drive-through penalty, and if they're speeding when they get the green light, they will be given a drive-through penalty. They have to keep it to 70 kilometers per hour. It will have a green bar at the top, you can't miss it, and if you go over it by even 0.1, it will say too fast, and it will be red. Talking of red, the lights are red, and we're waiting for them to go green. So, oh, and we've already got a drive-through, and it's Jonathan Earl. That's, I mean, less than was predicted, but it's such a shame it's Jonathan Earl, because he's about to lunge it up the inside for turn 1, no doubt. But Jonathan Seville defending it into turn 1. Can he hold them all off? Dan Watts taking a wider line. And it's such a close camera. Dan, can we get an aerial shot just to watch them all stream round for this first lap?
Fucking hell, Will.
Oh, because I can
Sorry.
see. Yeah, mind that language. We can see that there's yellow flags at the back there. And using my psychic... Oh, and there's absolute carnage. If I was a race director, I would be putting the red flag out. That's absolutely horrific. And I'm going to guess, with my deductive powers, that Ben Brown was involved in that. We're just watching Dixon Hurst get away. Ben, quickly, what happened there? From
lots of people trying to go 5 wires. Goes exactly as you'd anticipate.
Well, your bonnet is lifted, I will say that. So Jonathan Earl with his driver, he's down in 27th. So, oh no, that's just the driver ladder playing up. I thought he'd been involved in that. But we're just waiting for that driver ladder to correct itself and update. But I presume Jonathan Seville is still leading the way. Chris Larson seems to have got up to the second. We've got a replay of turn 1 following Ben Brown. So here we go. Oh, there's a bit of carnage in front. Oh, Ben Brown just had nowhere to go. And then he's... Oh, no. And then he's absolutely sandwiched in. Oh, God, wow. And one of the evil nature cars even got airborne. And now there was a GTR car there who saw a bunch of parked cars and still managed to drive into them. The cyan and magenta GTR saw a bunch of parked cars and still ran into them, which is crazy that could happen. Drivers, remember, you have got a pedal on the left. It is the brake. But as for what happened with Ben, it looked like 2 cars were just on converging paths and sort of unaware of each other being on converging paths. And say Ben, Will, and a car on the left sort of all came together, and then Ben was basically rocked about between the 2, and that would have done tremendous damage to his GTR. And this is a replay of Jordan Watson now. They're coming down to the chicane. What's happened here? He's following Dan Watts. Oh, nothing happened there then. Nothing happened there. But here's Ben Brown. He's coming into the pits. But the pit window is not open yet. So this will not count for their mandatory pit stop. They've just got to get this damage sorted out. And this is going to put them most likely a lap back. As we come back to Jordan Watson. He's in 5th, getting very close to the back of Alex Jahabi. Alex Jahabi is running behind Dan Watts, and Larson has jumped them up into 2nd place and is making chase for Jonathan Seville. Dan, what's your summary of that opening lap?
Carnage. It's yeah, I don't think we saw what triggered everything, but something happened. A few cars ahead of Ben, and it just went wrong from there.
Yeah, cars, maybe drivers not considering the pedal on the left and maybe not checking out their radar as much as they could. And especially some of those who were not involved in it and were behind, it seemed like they saw a wreck ahead of them but refused to slow down, and then just inevitably just drove into the crash, which was a bit concerning if these people have got driving licenses in the real world as well, because if I see danger ahead, I tend to slow down.
Yeah, I think some people may have pressed a pedal too far to the left, and yeah, on the second point, I've found that a lot because it's a sim race. People will go, well, there's a crash ahead of me, I'm going to try and take advantage of that, because if I do have a crash, it's only the result I've lost. It's not like I've got to spend whatever amount of money to repair the car.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they'll think, oh, it'll look really, it could look cool if I can, thread the needle, and it rarely comes out that way. So Jonathan L is carrying that drive-through penalty on his shoulders at the moment. He's in 7th place. He's going to have to serve that within a few laps. Jonathan Seville's taken off. He's really, he's extended almost a 2-second lead. Here's Will Dendy. He's worked his way up into 12th place, which I can imagine Ben Brown might be grinding his teeth to hear. So we've got a spinner. Matt High has lost it. Now we don't know if we've got a replay for you. Was he helped round, or was that self-initiated? So they're coming out of turn 4, heading towards turn 5. So it looks like it happened out of turn 6. It's got the Mercedes ahead that's got damage. Oh dear. Oh, and then just an absolute pile up. The BMW there had nowhere to go. So he didn't know that the AMG ahead of him was carrying tremendous damage and would therefore have had to take turn 6 much slower. So yeah, they braked much sooner than he anticipated. That caught him out, and he went into the back of them, and then the BMW went into the back of him, and just they had nowhere to go, and just an absolute mess. As Jonathan Earl comes into the pit lane now to serve his drive-through penalty, that's going to see him drop down the field. But given some of the crashes, and Will Dendy's off. Will Dendy's off at the pit lane entrance. What's happened there? Is he just? I think he's done this on his own, because he is on his own. Has he just taken a bit too much curb and lost the back? Because the McLaren in the sim do not like taking the curbs. Let's have a look. He's coming up to the left-hander at the NGK chicane. Oh, and that rear right wheel's just caught the sausage curb on turn 14. Now he's got to wait for everybody to come by. Is this a safe rejoin? Just about. He had to quickly do a UE. So he's dropped down to 19th position now. I'm sure Ben Brown's probably not grinding his teeth quite so much now. He's probably cheered up a little bit, going from what happened at turn 1. But I will add that Will and Ben, they are friends. They all get along. They all hang out at Simply Race. They all love each other. It's beautiful, really. Henry Handy, because of all the carnage and drama, he's worked his way up into 8th. And he's fighting for silver lead with Willy van Oosenen, who's holding 7th at the moment. But the gap from van Oosenen to Dixon is about 5.5 seconds. So is van Oosenen holding Handy up, or is this just a speed difference between the pros and the silvers? Because they are ahead of quite a few pro drivers, such as Martin Thorpe, Mav Gardner, Marcus Hagel, and Will Dendy, of course, pro driver. They are ahead of them. Through the NGK chicane, as Jonathan Seville just completes the 4th lap, and he has the fastest lap. And Dan Watts fighting for that 2nd place. He's looking around the outside. Is he going to try and go around the outside, or he's looking to get the old switcheroo? Larson's probably a little bit wise to that. He's no amateur, of course, but they're starting to lose touch with Jonathan. He's just about 3 seconds up the road. Look at that branding. That I now it's upside down, but I believe it says "Go for the Gap," where you can get all your branding and illustrations, logo design, and such at goforthegap.co.uk. Or if you just want some pretty artwork for your sim room, your office wall, framed or unframed, you can go to goforthegap.etsy.com. Once again, that's goforthegap.etsy.com. See, for the other sponsors, I say, "What was that?" just so they can repeat themselves, but they don't do the same thing for me.
It's funnier doing it that way.
It's funny just watching Cammy crash and burn on her own. So here's the battle for 2nd place between Larson and Watts. They are very close together and starting to shake off Shahabi as he's trying to hold off 2 Pulse Sim Sport boys. That is a very dangerous position to be in, to have 2 of those behind you. But that is Watson and Dixon right behind Shahabi. Now, how quickly can Dan Watts get past Larson? These are 2 of the most skilled drivers on the grid. I'm going to have to ask Dan about his livery, because the Risco, a lifetime of security. I don't think that's certainly not a real livery. It's the RTO Racing Team's own livery, so Risco getting some good publicity here as Dan Watts. Definitely at the sharper end of the field. That's great publicity for Risco. I'm guessing it's like home alarms or computer software. Dan, have you heard of it?
I haven't, but I'm quite quick with Google. So I'm on their website currently, and it says, "Defining the future of your security, leading innovation to create security solutions tailored to your needs.
But is that home security or computer security?
It is home security, so alarms, CCTV, access control,
Ah.
things like that.
Because I thought Google Chrome might want to have a word with them about the O in their logo. It's quite similar.
It's less similar for their actual logo, because their actual logo, although it's the same design, it's the blue outer edge and then the dot in the middle is red.
Oh, okay. So, that... Yeah, it's just the white variant of their logo having to work on that black background. So the top 6 drivers here at the Nurburgring are pros. A couple of silvers have worked their way into the top 10. 3 of them, in fact, are in the top 10. Fantastic stuff. And the AM drivers have worked their way up to 12th and 13th. Tremendous stuff from Matt Wilmot and Dave Zalecki. They are very close to each other as well, fighting for the AM lead. So all throughout the field, there's a battle for second for the pros, battle for the lead for silvers, and a battle for the lead for the AM class. So tremendous. Here's Marcus Hagel. He's got Hilke van der Veen right in front of him. They're going to go side by side through turn 10. I think Hilke lets it go, really. They're in different classes, so Hilke's not losing any points there. If anything, he can keep close to the back of Hagel and try and make some time, as Martin Thorpe's going to look up the inside now. And he has spooked Villy a little bit. He spooked Van Oosenen and takes that place easily. All he did was, he just poked his nose, and Van Oosenen obliged. But again, they are in different classes, so no points lost for Van Oosenen. Miles Dixon, he's at the back of this little train that Shahabi has formed. He is the caboose, the Shahabi's locomotive. Down towards turn 5, beg your pardon, down towards turn 5 and 6. The right-hander that sort of banks to the right a little bit. Lovely little corner to get right, as Jordan Watson takes a lot of curb in AstroTurf there. But Shahabi, no stranger to this sort of thing. He's doing very well to hold these two, and yeah, they know there's still just under 80 minutes of this race left to go, so they're in no hurry. They could get him in the pit stops. They could wait for him to make a mistake, possibly. Anything can happen. It's a marathon, not a sprint, of course. You can see Dan Watts just going out the picture there. He's of course in 3rd place, trying to chase down Chris Larson. Looks like he might be. There's still less than a second between them. I'm not sure they're quite as close as they were. I'm just going to check in on the chat. Refs98 says, it is our livery. Risco is our main sponsor. So that is an actual proper sponsor. That's a proper deal that you've brokered. That's not just, like, oh, my friend works there, so we'll put their logo there. If so, congratulations. It's great to see companies investing in esports teams, and, you know, we can give them a little bit of publicity, then that helps them see more sense in sponsoring you, because they're getting talked about now, and maybe there are some drivers that live in right dodgy towns that are thinking, yeah, I need some home security. Dan, your village, really dodgy, isn't it?
Ooh, some right shifty looking people around here.
Yeah, especially around the church. Yeah, they're all a bit too friendly. No, I'm joking. They're very lovely people, and actually, I'd love to live there. But probably a bit expensive for me at the moment on a freelancer's wage. As Dave Zalecki, he really wants the lead of AM class. He's fighting with Matt Wilmot at the moment for 12th. Oh, and who are we jumping back to here? Oh, this is Dave Zalecki and Matt Wilmot. What's happened here, Dan? We're getting a replay.
It was a little bit close into turn 1, from what I could see.
Quite a bit of background noise to your microphone, Dan. It sounds like you're in a wind machine or something. Yeah, it got quite close, and Wilmot did have to go on the defensive. There was a little bit of second guessing each other, and I don't think either were quite sure what the other was going to do there.
Yeah, the wind noise is all the computers.
How many of them are running?
Only 4 tonight, but...
Only 4? And how many monitors?
Why are you asking him this? He's just showing off at this point.
10.
Shut up, you, and drive. Ben, are you leading the race?
No,
No, get on with it.
not my fault.
It's not my fault. So after that pit stop, where have you come out?
34th.
And that's not quite last, is it?
No, so I guess it's not the worst. But yeah, unfortunately, when you get damaged that early, even the mighty Nissan cannot get to the end on one tank of fuel. So they're from that far out. So there was no point waiting for the pit window. I might as well just pit and fix the damage. And I'm going to have to pit later on to put some more fuel in it.
Well, the pit window has just opened in the last minute, so you've got an hour and 9 minutes to make that pit stop. I keep wanting to say pit opportunity or something. That doesn't really make sense. A couple drivers have already got their mandatory pit stops out the way. Ryan Davies and Javier Marquez. Ollie Knowles looks like he's fighting with Alex Parkin just ahead of him in the Panda Motorsport car. Are they going to go side by side up through the kink? He's being given room, but that AMG is carrying a lot of damage, Ollie. So just be aware, Ollie, that AMG might be braking sooner than you expect. It might be suffering a lack of front downforce. It might understeer as well. I wonder how many drivers do listen to us, Dan.
I'd hope it's a few, and I'd hope there'd be a fair few people just watching as well.
Yeah, I hope so. There's 30 of them watching this evening. So I wonder how many drivers get their friends and family to watch, as what's happening here. Ollie Knowles is coming under attack from Dan Hearn, but this is a pro driver making his way back up through the field after that opening lap. And Graham Jackson just letting, I think that was Thibaut Gurton going through. Let's see what happened there. He's coming around the Mercedes arena. Oh, and the back's just stepped out on him. And no, don't shunt the wall. Oh, he shunted the wall. The Audi is a tricky mistress recently. I found out at Suzuka. It understeers in slow corners, but then the back end can just step out on you when you've got your foot on the gas. A nice safe rejoin there as he takes care for the Aston Martin going up the inside. So a good rejoin there. He's back on his way. Here's Fry Guys Motorsports' Jonathan Earl. He's back up to 21st. Of course, he was involved in the pile-up at the beginning of the race and then had to take a drive-through. What's happened to Dendy? He's coming out the hairpin. Coming up to the Michael Schumacher S's. Oh, he's just dipped a couple wheels in the gravel, and then he's having to defend, and he's got to give that Aston Martin some space. Yeah, he's got to be mindful, because the last thing he needs is to be spun around, and regardless whose fault it is, the last thing you need is to be facing the wrong way, watching cars go past you as you do a 3-point turn to get going again. And what has happened here? This is the chase down into turn 1. Got a Pulse Sim Sport. I didn't catch the names, but
Hagel, and this is we're on board with Wilmot.
So this is Marcus Hagel and Matt Wilmot, and that looks like a nice move up the inside from Hagel. Very nicely done in the tricky R8, and here is Matt Wilmot. Now we're back with Jonathan Earl, and we're going to another replay. This is Jonathan Earl down into turn 1. Coming around the Mercedes arena, and he's catching very quickly on the oNiD car, and he just sends it straight up the inside. Yeah, I don't think that Porsche was making it too difficult for him. I'll check who that was in a moment when we've got the driver ladder back. That is car 29, so that was Dan Rhodes. So yeah, an AM driver, they're not likely to put up much of a fight against a pro driver. You know, they know there's a couple seconds per lap difference. So look at the gap that Earl has already pulled out on road. So Earl is on a big recovery drive at the moment, and he's still got an hour and 10 minutes to do it. So still a great result on the cards is possible for Jonathan Earl tonight. See, Ben could do that if he tried.
I tried, thank you.
Here is Matt Wilmot. He's running in 13th at the moment, leading the AM class from Dave Zalecki, who is in 15th, and then Dan Rhodes in 3rd is think about half a dozen seconds behind them. But now Marcus Hagel is battling with Mav Gardner, and this is a battle for position in class. They're both pro drivers. This is for 11th and 12th, or it would be about 9th in class, I think. Let's have a look. They're coming down to turn 10 and 11, the Vorsteiner curve. Dan, what is a Vorsteiner?
Is it a type of sausage, or is it a cigarette? I don't know.
I think it's a brand of beer, but
oh yeah, you might be right.
Because a Stein isn't like a Stein, the glass that Germans drink out of.
I believe you're correct.
Vorsteiner International Premium Beer.
Font of all knowledge, you are.
Ah, danke.
Yeah, someone in the chat, the Codex 09, it's a German beer. Sasha King UK, Lurkers.
What? Sasha King UK just says Lurkers, yeah. Refs 98. Well, one of our mates works for the security company, and the company asked if we would run their logo on the car. We are redesigning our own logo, so I will minimize the Risco logo and replace it with RTO. But yeah, homemade livery, which just makes Ben Brown's stomach turn.
No, I really like people's liveries.
Yeah, I love them.
No, I do. I do. It's really nice seeing what other people come up with.
Why don't you just feed it through an AI generator as well?
Oh, don't get me started on that rubbish.
Bremsy says Mav Gardner has worked his way up, started in P30. And Mav Gardner, yeah, he is running in 12th place at the moment. So maybe he is one of the big winners from that opening lap kerfuffle. So I think there is a Track Racer brand on top of RTO as well, as he's going side by side now with Chris Larson. Has Dan Watts got the plates? He was up the inside. Chris Larson's going to hold on. They're going to go side by side through the Michael Schumacher S's, and Chris Larson has taken that second place back. I don't know if Dan Watts actually got ahead, but they are nose to tail. This is absolutely fantastic driving from the pair of them. They are both extremely highly rated. Going to quickly check out their rating. So Christopher Larson has a SimRacing.GP rank of 8,797, and Dan Watts has a rating of 9,395. And some extra context, Jonathan Seville has a rating of 8,676. As Chris Larson's going to try and close the door on Dan Watts, and I thought there was a little bit of contact there, but that was a real dive towards the apex to close that door. Now Dan Watts is going to have the slipstream all the way down the straight. Are we going to see the purple Honda start to move over to the right? We've got a nice aerial shot. Dan Watts is going to go up the inside. No, he's not. Chris chops across on the racing line. This is good, clean racing from the pair of them. To get you a few more of those SimRacing.GP rank levels. It's like the iRacing system, but better. Alex Shahabi's is 8,400. I'm just going to round them so it's a bit easier to remember. So Christopher Larson's is 8,800 essentially. Jonathan Seville's is 8,700. Alex Shahabi's is 8,400. Miles Dixon's is 7,400. Dan Watts is 9,300. Marcus Hagel's is 8,400. And Jonathan L's is 7,700. I wonder if that makes sense for non-native English speakers saying numbers like that, Dan.
It probably it depends on what language they speak, because
yeah, French is one of those languages.
Yeah, I was thinking of that's what I was thinking of, French, where you've got weird numbers where you don't say 80, you say 420s.
Yeah, 420, nice. So I'm just wondering if we have Sigurd Revzik tonight, or was he involved in the smash up on lap 1? Dan?
I can't see.
I wasn't sure if you'd heard me. But he might be taking this as like basically a drop round, as Dan Watts and Larson just going past the Racing Stronger, making a lap up on them. It could be Thibaut Gurton, I'm not sure. Oh, it was number 15131, so that would be Dan Hearn. He moved out the way and just sort of backed off the gas, so we do like to see simple overtakes and simple laps, especially for a lap being done like that, as the number 888 is being lapped now.
That's Ryan Davis.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Yeah, in the chat, Sasha King was responding to something we were talking about 10 minutes ago, so that may have been when we were talking about people watching the stream.
Oh, yeah, people who watch stream and don't talk, yeah, they are lurkers. Yeah, fair enough. Revs98 says, I'm Revzik. I'm just waiting for everyone in the chat to go, no, I'm Revzik. I'm Sigurd Revzik, and so is my wife. He says, yeah, I'm Revzik. Haven't got internet, so watching on mobile. So does that mean you're running through your data?
A lot of people have unlimited data these days, or a fair amount. I mean, I think I've got 200 gig on my contract.
Wow, that's really different to what Americans have at home because of the way their internet suppliers are sort of so... there isn't like anti-competition laws like we have in the UK, so Comcast can just control a whole state's internet. And I've heard of internet in America, they'll say, oh, I've got a 200 gigabyte limit for home. And you think, what?
Yeah, although there is one place in the UK where you can only get one provider of broadband. Do you know where that is?
Is that the Shetland Islands?
No, it is...
Isle of Wight?
No, it's not an island.
Okay, not an island. Okay. Oh, that's... oh, I was about to say Anglesey, but that's another island. Is it a sparsely populated or quite a densely populated area?
It's a fairly densely populated area. It's got a river, I think.
Codex has just said, is it Tidworth in Wiltshire?
It is not. It is a city.
I'm going to guess Middlesbrough.
It's fairly close. It's Hull.
Okay.
So in Hull, every phone line, internet connection, everything is provided by Kingston Communication.
Not by BT or Virgin or...
Yeah, there's no OpenReach. I don't believe there's any Virgin Media. It goes back to the days where every area had their own system, and then all the systems then got nationalised, apart from Hull.
That's strange, isn't it? That's a...
I don't think they wanted to sell up, I think.
No, apparently not. Somebody else who doesn't want to sell up is Jonathan Seville. He's happy to just keep driving. I don't know, that was a really bad link to that, but Jonathan Seville leading the way comfortably, still with the fastest lap. And Miles, sorry, go on, Daniel.
I was going to say that was a Linus Tech Tips level segue.
Yeah.
And now on to this segue.
Our sponsor, yeah, and it'll be some really obscure sponsor, and you think, okay, just skip that bit of the video. But look how close Watson is getting to Shahabi. Is he going to launch it into turn one? Shahabi's going defensive, and we've cut away. We've cut away to Henry Handy. Dan, that was a Lance Stroll moment.
It was. There was a yellow flag for him, but I don't know why.
Jordan Watson wasn't able to make the move, but Shahabi is driving very defensively, and for half an hour he's just been absolutely under pressure from these two whole SimSport cars. An amazing feat of driving there. He's managed to stay ahead of them. They go under the bridge towards the chicane again. This is the turn 10 and 11, the beer curve. Yeah, Bremsy says, you just skipped away from P2 fight before an overtake. Yeah, as I said, that wasn't me, Bremsy, you know.
P3, correction, P3.
You know, if you want to get your complaints in, I'm sure it's Dan at cadandcomputers.com or something. Dan's neither confirming nor denying.
You can email to complaints at...
Yeah. Complaints at oNidracing.com.
Complaints at oNiD.racing.
Ooh, fancy a dog racing. Noted, says Bremsy. As Jordan Watson must be absolutely sick of looking at the back of Shahabi's BMW. Miles Dixon's pulled back a little bit. I think he's just sick of running in that dirty air. He was probably losing a bit of downforce, so there's no point in him running that close. He might have even been wearing his front tyres out a little bit too much. So a sensible move there from Miles Dixon, if that was indeed a deliberate act and he didn't just go off on the gravel a bit and lose some time. But here's Watson, down to turn 1. Shahabi knows what's coming. And he fends off any attack that Watson would be launching very comfortably. He's got this under control, it seems, at the moment. Sort of aware not to curse them as they come through the Mercedes arena for the 16th time. Half an hour into this race, 1/3 distance. The Codex 09 says, well, Berry didn't make peace with Russia after the Crimean War till the 1950s. Pointless historic fact. Was that Berry or was that Berwick upon Tweed? I think that was Berwick. Because it was Berwick upon Tweed has changed country about 13 times. It's been part of Scotland and England because of the Scottish-English border changing over the years, because of English-Scottish wars. So any declaration of war had to say you are at war with England, Scotland, and Berwick upon Tweed, which is a fact I learnt from Mapmen. And Codex is saying if you're giving LTT information, Dan is a big fan of Linus Tech Tips.
He is my hero.
He's your hero. Oh, a little bit of a twitch there from Jordan. That looked like an internet-related twitch rather than a driving twitch.
And we are on Twitch.
Yes, be sure to follow and subscribe at twitch.tv/oNiD Racing. If you haven't done it yet, do it now. A third of you still watching, thank you very much. As Watson and Shahabi come back onto the home straight. Is he going to be able to make a move this time? He looks a bit further back. Maybe he's thinking he'll try and get it done in the pit stops. They close up, but not enough, and he's just going to have to follow Shahabi through again. And another internet twitch there from Jordan Watson. This could get dangerous, because if a car's twitching around, it could make contact with Shahabi, couldn't it, Dan?
It could, and we wouldn't want to see this battle end that way.
No, absolutely not. Ben, are you involved in any battles at the moment? How are you doing?
No, I'm having a nice Sunday night drive, to be honest. Just kind of chilling, really. All by my lonesome.
Ben running in 29th at the moment. He's just coming down the start-finish straight, down towards turn 1. He hasn't got his mandatory pit stop out the way yet, but he did have to pit to repair all that damage that was gained. No, it wasn't his fault at all on turn 1. He was just absolutely the meat in a horrendous sandwich. He's got Colin Cameron ahead of him and some nasty audio feedback coming back from Ben's microphone. So,
really?
Yeah, there was for a moment.
Oh.
It was like
just not me laughing?
No, it was an electrical humming.
Oh, don't break technology, come on.
Well, it's CAD and computer stuff, you know what it's like.
Oh, blame Dan.
Yeah, no, I'm joking.
It has nothing to do with the mic.
Absolutely joking there. Jonathan Seville still holds the fastest lap. Jordan Watson still hasn't got past Shahabi. Dave Zalecki still is running in second place, just behind Matt Wilmot. That is second place for the AM class, 16th overall, beg my pardon. They power down towards the Michael Schumacher S's. Most of the drivers still yet to make their mandatory pit stop, but we are not even at halfway. 10 more minutes, then we'll be at half distance. 33 of you watching now, so few more of you joined. Welcome. We're at Nurburgring, as you can tell. My name's Cammy Sturch, and I'm here with Dan Hyde. This is the Round 3 GT3 British Championship. Essentially split one, the creme de la creme, as we see Jonathan L trying to make a move on Matt Wilmot. And this is Pro versus Am. And Matt Wilmot, I thought he was just going to let him by there, but Matt Wilmot holding the position off. He's defending quite well there, and that's allowing Matt Hyde to close up a little bit. Jonathan L now. Is he going to be able to take that 13th at turn 1, or is he going to be forced to do it through the Mercedes arena again? Gets close to the back of Matt Wilmot, but no move is forthcoming, so it looks like he's taking slightly different lines. This is where he did it a few laps ago. He launched it up the inside here. Is he going to do it again? He's looking, but Matt Wilmot is a little bit faster than some of the other drivers Jonathan L's tried to get past. Wilmot is he's impressing. He's absolutely impressing. For an Am driver, he is impressing, and he's going to make Jonathan L go the long way round as they come up, and they're side by side now. Matt Wilmot holds the line. He doesn't have to give this up. They're in different classes, but they are on the same lap, and they are fighting for position. Matt Wilmot is absolutely entitled to defend like a lion, as Alonso would say. This is for 13th place, and a little train is starting to form. Oh, and Matt Hyde outbraked himself. He did well not to go into the back of Earl. He's gotten away with it, but he has let Dave Zalecki go through up the inside.
I'd call Matt the controller Minister of Defence.
Would you, Dan? I feel like there's a joke that I'm not getting there.
Oh, when Perez was called the Mexican Minister of Defence.
Oh, I see, and he's because Matt Wilmot does, of course, play on a controller. I avoided saying that because a couple of times I've mixed Matt up. I've mixed Matt Wilmot up with, who have I been mixing up with, Dan?
Mr. Holman, the flyboy.
The what?
The flyboy.
Why is he the flyboy? Oh, because he's a pilot.
Yeah.
Flyboy. When you said flyboy, I just imagined just literally like a balloon bottle. Like that episode of Simpsons, like Bart goes into the machine and turns into a fly. You know, he goes into the spider's web and just slaps a spider.
Yeah. Oh.
So,
Ooh.
Down into turn 1, it is getting close, but Matt Wilmot is holding Jonathan Earl up, and he's doing well, but Jonathan Earl knows that Mav Gardner is slowly pulling away. He's sort of 12 seconds up the road. Jonathan Earl's going to try the trick again. He's forced Matt wide, and now he's going to be able to go around the outside. They're going to bang wheels a little bit. And I thought I was going to see Matt Wilmot flashing his lights a little bit. That was a... Now, Jonathan Earl will think, you know, I had to do that because you were holding me up. But, you know, Matt Wilmot was entitled to defend that position, wasn't he, Dan? What do you think about that pass?
Thanks, Max907, for the follow. Yes, he's entitled to that. He earned the space on the track.
Yeah, they were side by side. He had gone all the way around the outside, and they were still... They could look left and look right and look each other in the eyes, practically. But Matt Wilmot did come off worse there. He had to sacrifice a place to Matt Hyde, and now he's having to defend from this man, Dave Zalecki, in the 911. And Jonathan Earl's off, and he's going all over the place, and he's just lost those places he worked so hard to get. I wonder if we can get a quick replay of that. Here we go. How did that happen? So he's being chased by Matt Hyde, but I think Jonathan just lost it on his own. So he's coming through to Michael Schumacher S's. We know he got through them fine. And then he's coming up to turns 10 and 11. Oh, and he's just absolutely got a massive slide on, then a bit of a tank slapper that he's trying to recover from.
Yeah, that's just the Sporty Beetle doing Sporty Beetle things.
Yeah, and I realised earlier I've been calling turn 6 the Vorsteiner curve, but actually turn 11 is the Vorsteiner curve, so my apologies for getting that wrong. So yeah, now he's got to make all those places back up and get past the sort of the controller of defence.
Although it looks like Matt Wilmot has lost the lead. I was going to try and find a replay of that.
Yes, he has. Dave Selecki has taken that lead, and Jonathan L's taken his mandatory pit stop. So
it's happened before the last corner.
I think it happened whilst they were trying to avoid Jonathan L. I think Jonathan L. Selecki took advantage of that chaos and that situation. And Codex says that was a wide BMW. Yeah, Wilmot was making that BMW as wide as he can. All the memes about the big boy, the wide boy BMW were coming true. And here's Jordan Watson. He's still looking at the back of a very wide BMW, and he gets very close under braking, but no cigar yet. Trying to take slightly different lines just to try and get the old switcheroo. He's got a run now. Will he fire up the inside? No, this is a bit more of a measured drive. A bit more measured than we're used to seeing. Jordan is a fiery driver. He is one to absolutely lunge and launch it up the inside, but this is a more cautious Jordan tonight, and that might be because, yeah, he had a bit of a rotten Alton Park, so he does need a good result to keep his hopes of a good result in this championship alive. None of the top 18 have made their mandatory pit stop yet. We're just coming up to half distance now. Ooh, and Shahabi was a bit slow there. He was a bit slow through the hairpin. John Watson closed right up, but he had nowhere to go. He couldn't take advantage of that extra speed. He just sort of had to brake to not run into the back of Shahabi. That was the Vorsteiner curve. No, beg your pardon. They're coming up to the Vorsteiner curve. So here it is. This is the Vorsteiner curve. Hope you enjoyed it, because that was it. And now they're heading down to Ad Van Bogen, turn 12. That's just a kink on the right. Ben, do you lift for that right-hand kink, or... Oh, hang on. Jordan Watson, he's going side by side with Shahabi. He's going to have the outside line, and there's a little bit of contact, but they're all safely through. And Ben, do you have to lift at that right-hand kink towards the end of the lap?
No, I think everyone can just take it flat. It's as long as you get the line right, it's absolutely fine.
Ah, so an absolutely flat. It's been a while since I've driven at Nurburgring. Most of the time, my sim rig, it usually has a few clothes draped on it. Ben, do you ever drape clothes over your sim rig?
No.
You lie. You lie. You know, you're too clean for the wardrobe, but you're not dirty enough for the basket. To the sim rig you go.
No, I think it would make me weep a little bit putting things on this after the time spent putting this together.
Dan hasn't got his sim rig set up, so I can't ask him the question. In chat, if you have a sim rig, have you ever draped nearly clean clothes over it? I know Jimmy Broadbent's, I think his previous teammate, Jem Hepworth. I think that was his previous teammate. Jem Hepworth, who drove in the Praga in when it was part of Britcar. I asked her, and I teased her about that because she said, yes, I do. And I think Sarah Maud does as well. They all drape clothes over their sim rigs. It's there, you might as well. If it's in your bedroom or in your room anyway, you might as well. I realise I'm probably, because I'm in a house share, so yeah, my bed, computer and the sim rig are all in the same room. It's a large space, but yeah, I forget some people have dedicated sim rooms where it'd probably be more awkward to just, that would be more awkward to take your clothes into that room to hang them on the sim rig. Jordan's very close, but he knows Alex is going to be defending. And he's forced to look around the outside again, and yeah, that's not happening, but they make their way safely through the chicane. Neither of them pitting yet, and they go round to start the 24th lap. And there's a bit of lap traffic up ahead, so... Oh, and our leader is in the pits. Jonathan Seville making his mandatory pit stop. He'll be having a quick drink, no doubt, as well. 45 minutes into the race, exactly halfway. So that means Dan Watts is your new race leader. Dan, it sounded like you had something to say, because I heard your microphone.
It wasn't me.
Oh, that was resident pest, Ben Brown.
Excuse me?
I don't know why I'm calling him a pest. I couldn't think of another. I couldn't think
Watch your mouth, Cammy.
I couldn't think of another playful word. It was like,
we missed the overtake, Cammy. Here's a replay.
oh, Ben.
What?
So Jordan Watson launches it down the inside. Maybe Alex Harvey was distracted at the thought of how he was going to deal with those back markers. And in that moment, Jordan Watson launched it up the inside of turn 1. Fantastic move. Will Alex Harvey have a response? Can he take advantage of the lap traffic? They've already cleared one of them. Who was that, Dan? If we can quickly have a look in the Skechers Audi. That is a standard, like ACC British GT livery. Would that be? That's not Van Oosenen.
That's
Alex
parking
Harvey's
ahead in the Mercedes. He's got right in the way.
He has, but that has enabled Alex Harvey to really have a go at Jordan Watson. This is great racing between them. As Jonathan Seville comes out the pits, he's down in 8th at the moment, but no doubt he'll regain that as Jordan Watson just going past Fry, guys. Is he close enough to have a go at Jordan Watson? No, he's not. Now he's going to see what it's like to have to follow somebody that closely. As Jordan Watson lunges into the pits, and this is Alex Harvey's chance. If he can get a couple fast laps in, and he has got some space. He has got some clear road, so he could get a couple fast laps in and do the overcut. As Dan Watts now into the pits. Here's your new race leader, Christopher Larson, but no doubt he will be making a pit stop in the very near future. He has got a good amount of clear track in front of him though, so that's a good incentive to stay out if anything. And Matt High, he's right behind. That looks like Marcel Seema, yeah. Oh, and he's made contact with Seema. That is a no-no. Van Oosenen, or was that Mav Gardner? Looks like he did well to avoid. No, that was Fry Guys AMG. That's Alex Parkin. Did well to avoid going into the back of Seema, and Seema's still not got moving. Seema, you can reverse.
I think he may have stalled it.
I think he might have, yeah. I forget. Most drivers turn auto ignition off, so they can manually turn the engine off when they come into the pits. Yeah, that was a clumsy overtake effort, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it looks like he tried to move away in second gear and he's been hit again. Yeah, engine off, so he's had to restart the engine.
Was that Jonathan L that hit him?
I'm not sure who it was. Yeah, so he's got away after that.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. No fault of his own. That could be one for the stewards to look at after the race. Here's Mav Gardner. He's currently in 16th place, and that must be Ville Van Oosenen just ahead of him. They're in different classes, of course. Mav is pro, and Van Oosenen, he's running second in silver class, 15th at the moment. Sigurd says, never too precious for discarded clothing. Oh, I wouldn't call them discarded clothing. That makes it sound like you're going to throw them out.
So, you know, his name's gone now, out of my head. What I was going to say, I've forgotten. Oh. Who's the guy ahead? Dixon. So, you know, he pitted early. This has meant that Watson, after his pit stop, has come out behind Dixon.
Wait.
Dixon was behind.
That's true, yeah. Miles Dixon has jumped Jordan Watson. Yeah, how has that happened?
I think it's just showing you the delta in the lap times when you bolt some of that fresh rubber on.
I wonder if Jordan Watson maybe had a little bit of damage to repair as well in the pits, or if it was just also
no. So their stop times are within half a second.
So no difference between them there. Bremsy says, and Shahabi overtook Larson. He has, but Larson is in the pits, but we'll presume that Alex Shahabi did that on track as Larson comes out of the pits now. And looks like he's gonna, has he maintained? No, he's in 6th position. Looks like he's come out just ahead of Ben Brown, actually. The number 2 just coming out ahead of the number 2-2.
2-2.
I got a 2-2 degree, and somebody said, welcome to the Desmond Tutu Club. So that was nice.
That's a different one.
Yeah. I missed out on a 2-1 by like 1 mark or something, and my university was very strict about essays being handed in by 5 PM. And I handed my essay in at before that, but they said, "Oh, can you not include this with this?" Because I thought I had to. It was 2 parts of the work, and I thought I had to integrate them together into one project. And they said, "No, we want them separated. Like the images from the essay had to be separate rather than integrated." And I think I got that into them at 5:10, and they said, "Well, we're gonna have to fail you." As there is a spinner there, there's a yellow flag out. That wasn't Ben Brown, was it? I don't think it was. No, that's a Porsche. That's Dave Zalecki. Dave has spun it. He's got going now. He's just coming up ahead one of the remnant racings. But what's happened here to Dave? He's coming up round the Vorsteiner curve. So he just maybe taking a bit too much curb, unsettled the car, the back stepped out, and then he's trying not to slam it into the wall. He's done well to avoid the wall. He does a quick little spin, nicely executed, 10 points there. He's lost a good 10 seconds or so, and then, yeah, the second of the remnant racing cars coming up to pass him. Ben Brown's up to 25th, but he is surrounded by a lot of cars that have got to pit, and Matt Wilmot has picked up a stop and go 30-second penalty. Dan, that's quite a harsh penalty. What's happened there?
He's sped in the pit lane by a fair amount, more than you need to get a drive-through, but not enough to get an instant disqualification.
Oh, Matty boy. Dear oh dear, he must have misjudged the line and where it was. He must have thought it was further down the pit lane. It is a good idea to practice your pit entries in practice. It was Michael Schumacher who pioneered doing that. Of course, refueling came back to Formula One during his career, and he was one of the first drivers to make a point of going as fast as he could up to the line, and that was one of the secrets of his success. There's Jordan Watson getting very close to the back of his teammate.
Although, if I remember correctly, when Schumacher started in Formula One, there wasn't a pit lane limit.
No, when he started in 91, there was no pit lane limit. When did pit lane limits come in? I think they came in around 96.
I'd say it's definitely after 93, because Senna set the fastest lap at the Donington European Grand Prix by aborting a pit stop when he went through the pit lane flat out.
Yeah, he did. I remember that. I think Schumacher was already at Ferrari when he was practicing that.
I think he was, because Ferrari, when Ross Brawn and Jean Todt were brought in, they brought in Nigel Stepney to whip the pit crew into shape.
Yeah, it's amazing what difference a well-drilled pit crew, what difference it can make to the sort of overall victory count of a team. Jonathan Zaville, your de facto leader, he's in third at the moment. Looks like everyone has made their stops except for Adam Gardner, Henry Handy, who's enjoying himself up in second place, and Alex Shahabi. I think Ben Brown has dropped down the order a bit, so maybe he's taking his pit stop. Ben, have you taken your pit stop yet?
No, still chilling.
He's still chilling. Matt Wilmot's just coming out, having served his stop-go 30-second penalty. He's dropped from 17th down to 26th place, and here's Ryan Davies. He's running along in 38th spot. He's got his pit stop done. He is 5 laps down, but he's still going. We like to see that. And Dave Zalecki, he's just going up the inside of Adam Gardner. Or is he? But they've got Dan Watts behind. That looks like Dan Watts behind. But it's not coming up. Yeah.
I think it's just because it's blue flags, so...
Yeah, here we go. And they've let Dan Watts through. That's very nicely done from them too. And they've held position as well. It didn't really interfere with their race at all. It didn't slow them down at all even. It was nicely done. Yeah, Ben Brown yet to stop. He is running in 23rd at the moment. He is... only a couple seconds back from Javier Marquez, but I think when he comes out the pits, he will be fighting with Ollie Knowles.
So how many, just to chime in, how many people have actually changed tyres? Because I'm guessing given that Alex is still out and Henry's still out, they'll just have a dab of fuel and then keep going.
I'll leave that to you to answer, Dan.
Well, as you say that, Henry Hand is in the pit, and I You chat away for a minute, Kemi, and I'll go down and check everyone's pit stop timers.
Quick, Cammy. Fill some time. Fill, yeah. As I think I saw, yeah, so that's Henry Handy in, and I thought I saw Alex Shahabi coming in. That's Adam Gardner into the pits. So there is still a pit window of 30 minutes remaining, so there's no pressure yet. Alex can stay out for a while. Henry Handy's blasting his way out the pit lane. He's out of his pit box. He's got to make sure he keeps to the pit lane limiter as he goes past his Remnant Racing teammate. And here is Jonathan Earl. He's not had the best race this evening. He is running in 24th place.
Yeah, as far as I can see, it looks like Jonathan's the only one to have a sub 30-second pit stop, but he has made 3 trips down the pit lane. Now, I know at least one of those will be for his drive-through. I can't remember whether he got another penalty or not. Oh, sorry. It does actually tell me he's had two drive-throughs, so I would say he probably has taken tyres and it's just got a bit confused on his second drive-through.
Yeah, I was thinking if he got caught up in the first lap incidents as well, so there was the possibility of having damage to repair. It looks like he's catching up with one of his Fry Guys teammates. Even though he's a Fry Guys motorsport driver, he's not running the Fry Guys livery. He's running a bit more of a emo, edgy, black and red, Shadow the Hedgehog sort emo-y livery. But here's Willy Van Oosten running his more Monster Energy livery, sort of the lime green and black, and he's fighting with Mav Gardner. I think he's just lost a place to Mav, actually, hasn't he, Dan?
He has.
He has. Mav Gardner's just made that move. We've just not been able to catch that. Is he going to be able to fight back? It does look like he's keeping close to Mav. They come down towards the hairpin. I'm just going to pick up my driver notes as well. I printed them out on paper, but then when drivers don't run the number that they say they were going to run, then it makes it hard for me to find them. But they're going side by side now. Mav holding on to that 12th place. These two are not in direct competition. They will not be taking points away from each other. So this is just a bit more of a... There's a bit less pressure involved and a bit less preparation to get the move done, maybe. There's no need for them to get rough and tumble with each other. Oh, and Mav very wide into the chicane. He's made a mistake. Villy's going to take advantage of that. And Mav... Oh, I thought Mav was going to dive into the pits there, but he opted not to.
I think he was lifting off to try and not get a track cut warning.
Ah, very wise. Yeah, very wise from Mav. As we return you to our, at the moment, race leader, Alex Shahabi. Oh, great. Could you hear that?
I could.
Yeah, gotta love Windows computers when they do that silly sound.
So the lead gap at the moment is 35 seconds with Shahabi still to stop.
And yeah, pit stop takes a fair bit longer than that once you take into account the slow drive through the pit lane.
Well, I think the pit lane loss for drive-through is about 30 seconds.
And then you're stopped for about 30 seconds as well.
If you take tyres.
Ah, if you take tyres.
Fuel can be as little as 1 second or 2 second stop, I think.
That is true, yeah. Bristolians can celebrate at the moment whilst one of their boys is leading the way here at the Nurburgring. Dan, have you ever been to Bristol?
Just the once.
Did you see the special clock?
I didn't.
Oh, that's a shame. As Jonathan L getting a bit bashy there with, looks like Ben Brown. Yeah, Ben Brown getting a bit bashy with Jonathan L. Is Ben Brown going to fight this? He has to pit.
Of course I am.
Of course he is. I mean, he's got to pit, and he's in silver, whereas John's in pro, and it makes no sense for Ben to fight this, but he's going to fight it. And Ben's going defensive. He's moved over to the right a little bit just to signal to John, "Hey, you're not getting past me that easily. I may be in 22nd, but like a cornered fox, I've still got to fight back." And he's
God, the time I've shot this shot.
Jonathan Earls just shot up the inside. What was that, Ben?
I'm trying to do the whole race on one set of tyres, and it's the first time I've tried it with this car, and I don't think it was a good idea.
Ooh, I don't think Jonathan's happy. It looked like he was flashing the lights then.
Got half an hour to go on these tyres, Ben.
Yeah. Just contemplating life at this point.
just let it go. Just give in. Let it happen.
Let it go.
Oh God. Copyright.
Yeah, that's us with a cease and desist now. Thanks, Dan.
It's alright, it's less than 7 seconds. Them's the rules.
And Ben's going to hold on as they start the next lap. Is Jonathan L going to be able to get the slipstream and fire it up the inside? Ben will be well aware of what John can do. He's not going too defensive though. He's leaving it fairly open, but no, Jonathan L's not able. I mean, the Porsche doesn't have the greatest top speed, but he's alongside now. Oh, and that was a big collision there between them. I'm amazed they're still pointing the wrong way, but Ben,
The wrong way?
Ben, what was going through your mind there?
Well, I was doing fine until John decided that he wanted to turn in.
No, I do think you turned into him a little bit there, actually.
You have to move. I'm allowed to move to the right to take the next apex. He's got all the track on the right-hand side of him.
Not if enough cars there. Oh, and did I say they're pointing the right way, not they're pointing the wrong way. Sorry, Dan. Oh, Jonathan L's thinking, like, hey, I'm a pro and I'm stuck behind this Silver who hasn't even pitted yet. What is he doing? As Alex Shahabi, race leader, comes into the pits, and that's going to release Jonathan Seville to take back.
Let's see how long he stops
his lead. Let's see how long he stops for. Neither of us have a stopwatch.
It looks like he is taking tyres. He's just gone for a very long stint. Ooh, no. So
no. He's straight back out.
We'll find out when he exits the pit lane what his stopped time was. He was stopped for 15 seconds, so that is fuel only.
And that looks like Dan Watts is just going to sneak past. Yeah, Dan Watts takes back at second place. So that means Shahabi's down to third. Seville retakes the lead. And where is Chris Larson in all this? He's 5 seconds back from these two. Here's Chris Larson. He's either had a longer pit stop or he's just had a harder time with lap traffic and the traffic he came out into. So Larson's got a bit of work to do.
I'd say it's the pit stop. He lost 17.5 seconds in pit stop time compared to Shahabi. So realistic, he's made up 10 seconds already.
Big oof in terms of the pit stop. But and Larson's getting a little bit of a slide on. He's pushing very hard.
He's taken new tyres, so that's why there's the big difference in pit stop time.
Oh, this would be exciting then, because I think the drivers ahead of him have not taken tyres, have they?
So everyone has taken tyres, I believe, apart from Shahabi.
And maybe Ben.
Yes.
I mean, Ben hasn't pitted
Definitely
yet.
Ben.
But Ben, do you think you'll take tyres in your mandatory pit stop?
No. There's only 20 minutes to go. It's fine.
But you've got everything to lose.
Oh, yeah. I'm up in the heady heights of 23rd at the minute.
Matt Gardner is running in 13th. He's got Van Oosenen in front of him. He's not close enough to make an attack at the moment, I don't think. But the two Pulse boys close together, Dixon and Watson, they're very close together. As Jordan Watson fires it up the inside of the kink, and Miles Dixon looks like he's let his teammate go. He's released his teammate. He's obviously not able to make an impression on Larson ahead, so now he's thinking, can Watson do a better job than me?
Watson is faster than you, can you confirm?
Yeah. Which must be a shock to Miles, because I think he's team owner, isn't he, or team leader, so that's a bit of a shock for him to hear that.
Do we remember what track that actually happened at? Because I can't.
That was Hockenheim. Whoa. Oh. Oh, Jordan. Go.
Only
Yeah,
the other side of the country.
Yeah, his internet's being powered by a hamster in a wheel at the moment. As Mav Gardner goes up the inside of Willy Van Oosten, and at the hairpin, it looks like he's got the move done. Yes, he has, as they come through to Michael Schumacher S. The Aston is ahead of the Audi, so he has taken that 12th spot. Nicely done. Mav Gardner's a little bit defensive now. He knows Willy's going to try and come back at him. And here are the two Porsches, Dan Rhodes and Dave Zalecki of oNiD Racing. They are in 16th and 17th, leading the way in the AM class. That is a 1-2 at the moment for oNiD in the AM class. Is Colin Cameron an oNiD driver? I'm not sure. No, he's not. He is Evil Nature. Evil Nature, Extra Life. Oh, and there is contact, and oh, the Pulse SimSport boys have had trouble lapping. So we've got the oNids, the leaders of the AM.
They've just been pulsed.
And they've been pulsed, yeah. The Pulse SimSport boys are a lap ahead. They're coming to lap these two, but these two are leading in their class. And they are, well, I think I was saying 13th and 14th, or 12th and 13th. So Jordan's flashing the lights just to let them know he's coming, and that is not a gap. That is
not how you lap a car.
That is not how you lap a car. That was, yeah, I can see why Dave Zalecki was angry there. It wasn't, yeah, Jordan Watson hadn't even been stuck behind him. It wasn't like he was stuck behind for a lap or a few corners even. Backmarkers do not have to leap out the way. It is up to the car doing the lapping to facilitate a clean, safe overtake. Yeah, I don't think Dave Zalecki expected him to sort of make a lunge there. So I think that'd be one for the stewards to look at this evening. But yeah, as Dan said, no doubt the oNiD boys got pulsed.
The gap's under a second now for Larson to Shahabi.
So Larson looks like he's making good ground on Jahabi with the fresh rubber, and Daniel Rhodes facing the wrong way.
Has he been pulsed?
Has he been pulsed? So there's lights flashing, and he's gone what? Oh no, he's just lost it on his own, hasn't he? He's
Yeah, I think maybe the flashing of the lights put him off, but you can't really blame someone for that.
Yeah, I think he also might have just felt a bit pressured. I think he might have worried that they were going to lunge at him, and he was probably driving a bit faster, you know, a bit beyond his ability, and just lost it. It's very unfortunate. It'd probably be one for the stewards to look at when it comes to etiquette, when it comes to lapping traffic.
So now our AM class, top three have now reversed. So third is in first is in third, and Dave Zalecki's still in the middle.
He is, yeah, but Evil Nature have taken the lead in AM class through all that, running in 16th and in the lead. Colin Cameron, big smile on his face at the moment, but he's going to come under pressure soon from Dave Zalecki, who, for the glory of oNiD, will want to take that AM class lead back. John Cheel, he's down in 25th at the moment. He's just behind Ralph Vest. And that is firmly the arse end of proceedings. Ben Brown, I think you're the only driver not to have made a pit stop now. When do you plan on making yours?
Well, I'm just proving how far the Nissan can go, I think, at this point. So I've still got another 7 laps of fuel, so I'm just going to keep going.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm literally fighting no one today, now. So
you're very loud. Dan, can we turn Ben down a bit? Because when he spoke then, I actually jumped out of my skin.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't expect Ben to speak again.
You'll need to do that on TeamSpeak.
I will need to do that on TeamSpeak. Right, Ben, mute.
No, don't turn me down.
No, I'm going to mute you. Now, there we go. I've turned you down by about 10 decibels.
Isn't that what every woman does? Turn him down. Hey!
Oh dear.
Sorry, everybody watching. 232 of you watching, thank you very much. If you're just joining, I don't think anybody's just joined now, but it's under 20 minutes to go here. Round 3 at the Nurburgring for the GT3 British Championship. Essentially split 1 of the oNiD series. Our feature series on Sunday nights. As Larson edging closer to Shahabi. He's edging, but he's not able to make it through. And Shahabi's trying to make that BMW as wide as he can. He's defending for his life. This is defending the final podium position of the pro class. And Larson was thinking about shoving it up the inside, but there's no space for it there. They come out of the Mercedes arena. 19 minutes to go, 14 minutes left of the pit window, but that only applies to Ben now. Larson was running, of course, in second place earlier in the race, but Dan Watts has superseded him in second place. But I think Larson can see Watts just further up the road. And he's making sure, he's having a look, just moving around behind Seville, making Seville look in his mirrors. Very close to each other. I think they're both on fresh rubber, aren't they, Dan? But Larson's are newer.
No, Shahabi did not take tyres.
Oh, yes, that's right. Shahabi was the only driver not to take tyres. So these last 18 minutes are going to be crucial. Shahabi can't afford to drive aggressively because he's going to wear through his tyres even more. And say the tyres could fall off a bit of a cliff with a few minutes to go. Likely not. They're not F1 tyres, but you know, we don't know what pressures and temperatures they're running at the moment. Here's Dave Zalecki. He's caught back up with Colin Cameron. He wants that lead back of the AM class. Daniel Rhodes is 6.5 seconds back from these two after they were both displaced by the Pulse Sim Sport boys. Ben Nergard earlier was saying, "Go Dan, woot woot." How long can Cameron defend? He's got 17 minutes left to defend, take the victory in the AM class. And Jonathan L at the pit lane. Oh no, was that him? Well, he's facing the wrong way. Somebody had to go onto the gravel to avoid him. So that was the last chicane of the circuit. That was the NGK chicane, turns 13 and 14. So here he is. He's coming through turn 12. And he must have lost it on his own. There's nobody around him. He's just taken it far too quickly. Oh, he's just taken too much curb and he's just the back stepped out and then he's done a 180. The Astons do very well to avoid him, but yeah, it's not been a good evening for John. And here's Chris Larson. Let's watch what happened here. Shahabi's being held up by the lap traffic, and has Larson taken advantage of this? Yeah, he's been able to carry a lot more speed through as... oh, we just jumped camera there. Yeah, so Shahabi was held up by the back mark. That enabled Larson to get the run. Got a great slipstream. Shahabi's going very tight, very defensive on the inside line. Larson's got the outside line. Does he run it around the outside? Yes, he does. He just manages to hold on. Shahabi gives him just enough space. There's a little bit of door banging there, but Larson has earned the right to be there. He has earned that space. And Shahabi has lost that battle. Larson retakes the third place. And a valiant effort on those tyres by Shahabi, but will Shahabi be able to respond, or is he just going to have to watch Larson drive off into the distance? I think this is still the replay we're watching. It's a long replay.
I had to make sure I got the move in.
Making double sure. Therefore, the replay's a lap and a half long. There we go. There we go. So now Larson is 9 seconds back from Dan Watts. Oh, I've just spotted. Oh, there we go. Martin Thorpe. I noticed on the mini-map his little dot absolutely flew off into the distance, and no doubt Marcus Hagel would have seen that as well. A bit of a connection issue, a little bit of touching there between them, and Ben's got a front row seat to this. So Ben, what's happening ahead of you?
Well, Martin just got a little bit of a lag spike there and got caught up in some traffic. But he looks like he's defending pretty well. I'm not sure if I don't know if Martin changed tyres, to be honest with you. Marcus looking very quick right now.
Are you going to send it up the inside of Marcus?
No.
No, I know my
I am
place.
staying well away from all of this.
I can confirm Martin did change tyres.
Oh, okay.
Well, that his pit stop time would indicate that he did.
Imagine somebody threw you a
Martin,
curveball
so-
and just sat there, not taking tyres, but just sitting there longer to make you think they did. That would be
throw
a
you
weird
off.
thing. Yeah, that'd be a weird thing to do. Be an utterly pointless thing to do. So here's Daniel Hearn. He is in 12th place at the moment.
He's having a great race considering he's been through the pit lane twice. He's the
He
highest
is.
runner that's been through the pit lane twice.
Yeah, he's having a good recovery drive at the moment. He was down in the doldrums, especially after the first lap, so he's doing well. Jordan Watson, has he just... I think he's just lapping. I thought he'd made a move on Martin Thorpe there, but Jordan Watson looking at the back of Miles Dixon's 911 again. And is that message going to come up again of Dixon, this is James, let Watson pass. Codex 09 says, teamwork from the oNiD boys. Are you thinking of Dave Zelecki and Daniel Rhodes? Dave, very close. Evil Nature's going defensive already so early down the straight to start going defensive. Let's see what's going to happen down into turn 1. The car number 1, Dave Zelecki. Oh, I think this is the old switcheroo, Dan. Is he alongside? He's taking different lines. This is good karting driving. This is exactly what you do in karting. There was a little bit of contact there that might have impeded Dave's progress, and he wasn't able to send it up the inside at the second half of the Mercedes arena. But that is when you get those twisty indoor karting circuits, that is exactly what you have to do. You have to start taking different lines. Oh, and Colin there. He kicked up a bit of dirt. That's just allowed Dave to close up even more. Could be a move coming down towards the hairpin, but you don't often. It's not a favourite place to make an overtake. The hairpin. You don't have to brake too hard coming down. Oh, they're getting very close to each other. Getting very close. So this is a battle for the lead of the AM class here at the Nurburgring. 12 minutes to go. Let's see if I can dig up some dirt on these two. What information do I have on these two?
You make it sound so sinister.
Well,
I do.
Dave used to be a race director. I believe he's relinquished his role.
He's a mechanical design engineer. He's in Northampton, but he races with the Polish flag. And his accomplishments: raced for oNiD in many challenging endurance races and leagues, but haven't managed to get to first place overall. Have had many podiums, second and thirds though. Well, he desperately wants that win in class, as he's getting very close to the back of Colin Cameron's Aston Martin once again. What you don't want to do is catch someone up the moment you want to put your foot down. You have to sort of back off a little bit to ensure you don't get too close, because now, yeah, he's not been able to get his foot down early, and he's not been able to make ground up. He's getting very close, but yeah, not close enough to make that pass. And what dirt do I have on Colin? I'm going to keep calling it dirt. Colin Cameron, he is from Canada. That's all the information I have.
Sorry, eh?
Sorry, eh? Sorry, eh? I've just got to defend from you. I have seen a clip of a Canadian. He was on his bicycle and slipped on some ice and fell, and somebody was like, oh my god, are you alright? And his first thing was like, oh, sorry. It's like, you're the one who fell and got hurt. Oh, Canadians. I love them.
Side by side.
They are side by side into the very corner I said is not a favoured overtaking position corner. But it looks like he's going to get the job done whilst I'm talking rubbish about Canadians. The Canadian has lost the lead of AM class to the Polish UK driver. So Dave Zelecki retakes the AM class lead for oNiD Racing in the Porsche 911, and now he's coming up to Coming up to some lap traffic. That looks like a Racing Stronger 911. And they move over and let him go. That's good stuff. We like to see that. Because he knows, yeah, I don't think Dave Zalecki would lunge up the inside for a lapped car. He knows what it's like to be on the receiving end of that. Or his teammate does, at least. Try to see. Oh, and Colin's off again. Oh, and he's losing control of the car. No, don't spin it now. Colin, you were doing so well and you had the lead.
Colin!
Colin! And that means that's bringing Daniel Rhodes back into play. Daniel will be aware of that. He'll see the dust that have been kicked up. So he'll be aware that he's catching Colin. And he'll see on his head-up display the splits. He'll see the gap between them will have come down by a sizable measure. And this is Van Ulsen, and he's just being lapped by Dan Watts. We used to call him Dan Watts, but he's corrected the spelling of his name. Oh, it's Marcus Hagel and Martin Thorpe. They're just making a lap on a Fry Guy car there. Not sure who that is. I can't remember everybody. I mean, there are 37 of them out on track. I can't remember all of them. My apologies.
Yes, I have noticed we've had a disconnection, and I have worked out who it is.
Who have we lost, Dan?
Who haven't you seen for a very long time?
Wow.
I can give you a clue. British Racing Green.
Mr. Dendy.
That's a point. Yeah, when did we lose Dendy?
I don't know.
Oh dear, let me jump on Instagram and post a selfie. No, I'll message Will and say, well, what's happened? Message, what's happened? Oh yeah, that is a shame. I don't know if it was a connection issue or whether he... I don't think he would have just quit out. That's not very Will Dendy-esque. But Polesport boys, SimSport boys, 5th and 6th at the moment. They're on for a good tidy result. There's a yellow flag in the Mercedes arena. Not sure what's happened up there. That's Graham Jackson.
Old Dog Juice.
Old Dog Juice. I think he's just lost it on his own. The R8 is a tricky car to handle. Well, let's see, has he just lost the back end of his tyres? Just screaming no more? Yeah, he's just started spinning, tried to correct, and then it's just flung him out the other way. And then he's... oh, I thought he was going to do a nice little spin to face the right way again, but... Nope, and that's Larson going past up the inside. And here's Sebastian Lathoff. He's fighting with... is it Damien Hirst? I don't think it's Damien Hirst, is it? That's an artist. Was it Damien Hirst? I'm not sure. Dixon Hirst. Oh, Ben Brown's into the pits.
A lap too soon.
Wonders never
Well,
cease.
yeah, didn't quite make it.
He could have got another lap in, but yeah, he might have been running on fumes at this point.
I was.
He's in 22nd, and we'll see where he rejoins. Sebastian Lathoff and Dixon Hirst are about to go past him. You'll hear those cars screaming down straight. Dog Juice might also be going past. Oh no, Ben Brown's just getting out ahead of them. It looked like he was going to try and block them, but then remembered to stay in the pit lane line. So Ben holds on. He's only lost 3 places, so not as painful as I thought it'd be for Ben.
That's left, if I can get my words out, that has let Lathoff through past Dixon Hirst.
Well spotted there, Dan. Yeah, I certainly didn't spot that. Well, I've heard nothing from Will, so maybe his internet's gone. I don't know. But Henry Handy, running in 9th. He's having a great race, and he's up against Martin Thorpe. Henry is the leader of the silver class, and he wants to extend his lead.
He's looking very handy at the moment in that NSX.
He's looking very Henry at the moment. Yes.
Very Henry.
Martin Thorpe getting nervous as that NSX creeps closer and closer. Is he going to try and fight it off? Because they won't lose any points if Henry goes past. There is they're competing in different sort of championship tables, one for Pro, one for Silver, and one for Am. And there's a move for Fry Guys there up the inside. What was happening there? Who was that? Not sure, but the Fry Guys did make the move. I'm not sure if that was a move for position or just a sort of putting a move on a lapped car. Could be lapped traffic, yeah. Yeah, getting nothing from Will. That's a shame. We've not seen Will Dendy at his sparkling best, because he is an amazing driver, but Will Watson was getting a bit slidey. Yeah, Will's an amazing driver, but it's just not come together for him in this GT3 series. I don't think he's been able to get the practice in. He's not felt comfortable with the car. It's a shame, yeah, because he's a great driver. Yeah, Henry Handy still chasing Martin Thorpe very hard indeed, getting very close, and he wants that 8th place. He wants to put a place between himself and Uttagren. Nobody seems to be chatting in the chat, in the text chat on the Twitch now. There's only 28 people watching. We've had 5 people say, all right, there's enough of this, and leave, as Henry had a little slide there. Miles is trying to hold Jordan off, and Alex looks like he must be struggling now because he's fallen back quite a bit. He's 7.5 seconds at least behind Larson, so he's certainly not been able to hold on to Larson. And in these last few minutes, those tyres could absolutely be red raw. And the Pole Simsport boys, they can smell a 4th place, but let's hope they do a better job of getting past him than they did the oNiD 911s of Zelecki and Dan Rhodes.
Well, we do have a driver that can tell us what it's like to drive 85-minute-old tyres.
Yeah, not fun.
Do you want a bit more depth to that?
A bit more depth. Well, you know, I said it was kind of slidey to begin with. I think now we've hit the point of braking earlier, not as much turning. It's
not as much fun.
Not as much fun. No, no. It's definitely. I think it's around. I think I'm about a second off now where I was.
Oh dear.
Even with more fuel in it, you know, with newer tyres, it's about a second a lap slower than that.
Well, Miles Dixon is getting very close to the back of Shahabi. It's a matter of time, surely, but can Shahabi hold on for just 2.5 minutes plus whatever the end of the lap is?
So yeah, on the last lap, Dixon was 9/10 quicker, and I think that included catching Shahabi up through the last couple of corners. So I think it's over a second a lap quicker when he can get past.
Yeah, I think he's going to make the move here. If he's that confident in his tyres, he'll be able to brake later and harder. It doesn't look like Shahabi's defending it too hard. But he's not able to make the move yet. Jordan Watson just patiently waiting behind. It's like 2 sharks just waiting for their prey. Just swimming circles around it at the moment. Jordan almost able to drive circles around Shahabi, given the state of Shahabi's tyres. 1.5 minutes left to go now. 45 laps completed here at the Nurburgring. The track temperature has fallen now to 27 degrees for all the difference it makes. Ben has the freshest... No, Ben, did you change tyres?
No.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. So, I was going to say Ben has the freshest tyres, but Ben has the worst tyres.
Me and Shahabi, yes.
Yeah, you and Shahabi have
must
the
be the
worst
only
tyres.
two.
And, well, Shahabi's doing an admirable job of keeping these 2 Pulse boys behind him. He is outnumbered 2-1. 50 seconds left on the clock. He's just wanting it to run out. Jonathan Seville coming across the line now to start what must be the final lap of this 90-minuter here at the Nurburgring in Germany. And Miles Dixon's getting closer and closer. He's got to be careful not to make contact. That would be a tragedy to see at this stage of the race. Shahabi's going as defensive as he can, but it looked like Miles was going to force the issue. Jordan trying to get in there as well. Can Shahabi hold the inside line? he's able to sneak it back up the inside.
I think
What a sneaky...
Dixon
I think Miles
was letting him back through, because you shouldn't really keep that position if you've taken it off track like Dixon did.
Although Miles was flashing his lights down the straight.
I think he was, that might maybe a flash of apology, because I think he nearly ran Shahabi off the road.
Jordan Watson trying to go past his teammate round the outside as well. No team orders here at pole. So absolutely, yeah, he does. And Miles is flashing his lights to Jordan Watson now. So
maybe saying, go get him.
Well, it could be, or it could be hey, you weren't meant to overtake me there. We won't know for a while. We won't know until the post-race debrief, as it were. But can Watson do it? He's got this last lap to do it on. Jonathan Seville is on the final lap. Hopefully, well, we want to watch John cross the line to win the race, but we also want to stick with this battle for 4th place. So Jonathan Seville is on his own. He's 10 seconds ahead of Watts, and Watts is 11 seconds ahead of Larson, and Larson is 12 seconds ahead of Shahabi.
Seville is coming through the chicane. He's now on to the final corner.
Oh, we better drop in with him. Here's Jonathan Seville. After 90 minutes, he hasn't put a foot wrong, and he's going to cross the line to take victory here at the Nurburgring from pole to flag. A fantastic drive from Seville as we go back to this battle for 4th, 5th and 6th. Dan Watts comes across the line for 2nd place. Pretty uncontested. Yeah, he's miles ahead of Larson, and Larson is miles ahead of Shahabi. And no doubt, yeah, Chris Larson is going to come across the line for 3rd, and looks like Shahabi is going to hold on. Can Jordan force this round the outside? I don't think he's able to. Alex, they're going to be side by side, but all Alex has to do is put his foot down now. And a measured and mature response there from Jordan Watson. So Alex Shahabi crosses the line and manages to hold on for 4th place. Jordan Watson finishes 5th, just ahead of his teammate Miles Dixon. Marcus Hagel now, he is going to finish in 7th place. We've had one driver drop out. Miles Dixon has dropped out the lobby already, so that's going to make... If people drop out the lobby quickly, that does make a classification of the results a bit more difficult for Dan and I, just to round out. So Henry Handy is going to come across the line for 9th, and Martin Thorpe is going to hold on for 8th place. They come across the line together. A great battle for these two. I don't think Miles Dixon was happy, given well, Jordan Watson ran it into the wall immediately, and then Miles Dixon quit out the lobby very quickly. So yeah, that's unfortunate for those two. I don't know if they were just upset they couldn't get past Shahabi, but yeah, the two oNiD boys congratulating themselves there. Zalecki taking the win in the AM class with Colin Cameron 2nd and Dan Rhodes 3rd. And Henry Handy took the win in silver class with Ortegren in 2nd and Van Oosenen in 3rd. And of course, Seville took the win in pro class with Dan Watts 2nd and Chris Larson in 3rd. Dan, are you there, Dan?
Yes.
You just disappeared.
I'm still here. And our resident feature driver managed to get back to 25th.
And it was all that going around slowly without changing the tyres that made the difference.
Congratulations on your 25th place, Ben. It was hard-earned, especially after that disastrous opening lap for you.
Yeah, apologies for my... I thought my mute button was on when I was on the first lap, because I didn't know what was going to happen. Apparently my mute button wasn't on, so you got me swearing out live on stream, so I'll have to find out how I can remove that. But
that's all right. I'm sure Johnny will suitably chastise you.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get suitably chastised. But yeah, it's a shame to have to start like that. But you know, at the end of the day, it's all about racing and things, and that's why we only had one person drop out, I think, out of the whole event. So yeah, really, really impressive to see everyone, even with their incidents, some with their incidents and things, still getting it to the end.
Dave Zalecki said "disgusting, Ben," and then put out, I guess, like a ban hammer.
Yeah. I'll have the stewards to deal. I'm sure. Yeah, it's always good. These 90-minute races are always challenging. Yeah, sometimes, as you mentioned before the race, the first couple of turns at Nurburgring are quite tricky, and so that's what happened. Unfortunately, that first apex is always a difficult one.
It really is, especially with people going 3, 4, 5 wide into that first corner. But yeah, thank you everyone who's joined us, all 30 of you. And Toga Motorsport is raiding with a party of 8. Thank you very much. But we're just wrapping up, unfortunately, now. And yeah, we've just come to the end of our 90-minute race and 45 minutes of qualifying here. It's Gary says, does Smoke Dust show on replays for everyone? At the start, I saw a gap between 2 cars and slowed down a little to make it, but there was a car parked sideways in the dust cloud. I don't know, it might depend on your graphical settings.
Yeah, if you've got the right settings, you will see that. Thanks, Toga Motorsport, for the follow.
36 of you watching now, you've just missed out on 90 minutes of pretty intense action. Jonathan Zaville took the victory overall. It was a pole position, sort of fastest lap, and the win. So he got the treble. Again, another stunning performance from Jonathan Zaville. Anyway, that's the end of our stunning performance on commentary. Thank you very much for joining us, Ben, whilst you were driving.
No, thanks for having me. Yeah, it was nice to hear you guys smash it with the commentary and the coverage. So thank you both.
Thank you very much. And thanks to Dan for the camera direction, replays, highlights, and all the streaming tech know-how that he's been working on this evening.
Thanks for commentating, Cammy.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening, and we'll see you again next week. Good night.